Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, DICE confirmed a major leak, World War 3 is getting an update, Assassin's Creed is getting some big changes, and more. Senior developers from DICE and Respawn took part in a panel discussion in the first episode of EA Play Live 2021 Spotlight. The developers of Apex covered the game's launch and upcoming content. Apex Legends director Chad Grenier confirmed Season 10 will feature a ranked mode for arenas. They'll reveal more info about Season 10 during EA Play Live on the 22nd, including info about the game's next hero. DICE's GM Oscar Gabrielson talked about building Battlefield 2042 on next-gen hardware and how the power of the new consoles enabled them to expand the game's traditional player counts and map sizes to an unprecedented scale. He confirmed the game has been in development for 3 years and runs on a brand new version of the Frostbite engine. Oscar also mentioned a long-lost feature he hopes to bring back one day is the tablet commander mode from Battlefield 4. It sounds like it won't be in 2042, but maybe it'll be in a future game. DICE LA are now Ripple Effects Studios, and they've been working on the Battlefield franchise alongside DICE Sweden. Last year, EA put Respawn founder Vince Zampella in charge of the studio. Once Ripple Effects' work on Battlefield 2042 is finished, they'll move on to the production of a new unannounced project. Christian Grass, GM of Ripple Effects Studios, confirmed the Redacted mode from Battlefield 2042 will feature classic maps from the past Battlefield titles. The mode is under wraps until EA Play Live debuts on the 22nd. This is the first time anyone from DICE has confirmed what the Redacted mode will offer outside of the limited info on the game's website. It also feeds into rumors that the mode will serve as a Battlefield hub with remasters of classic maps, modes, weapons, and vehicles from past entries in the franchise. Vince Zampella, founder of Respawn and group general manager of Ripple Effects, also teased that Ripple Effect will be working on a live service game in the future. World War 3 is finally getting an update after a year of radio silence. The game's official Twitter account started a countdown that ends next Tuesday. Early last year, the developers announced a partnership with My.Games that would provide more resources and funding for the game. The deal also meant World War 3 would transition to a free-to-play title. Before going silent, the developers teased work-in-progress updates to animations, weapon sites, and more that all looked very promising. World War 3 had the potential to be a Battlefield killer of sorts. It offers similar gameplay to Battlefield 4 and launched during a massive gap in DICE's modern military titles. But bugs, lack of polish, meager content, and significant performance problems held World War 3 back from market dominance. Today, you'd be lucky to find an active server. While researching this story, we found World War 3 had a single active team deathmatch server with a handful of players in it. Trying to revive the game right now with a major update right on the precipice of Battlefield 2042's release sounds like a lost cause at this point. That said, I am still excited to see what they have in store for the game. World War 3 still could have a lot of potential, and while it might get overshadowed by Battlefield, it's still nice to have multiple titles competing for attention in the genre of large-scale sandbox shooters. Who knows? If Battlefield 2042 crashes and burns, maybe we'll all have an alternative worth playing. Apex Legends is getting a new arenas map called Overflow on the 13th. It's been added as part of the Thrill Seekers event update, which also includes new cosmetics that players can unlock via challenges. Overflow differs from arena maps by being more lane-focused. Most arena maps are wide open spaces that let players maneuver freely. Overflow is divided by lava-filled structures that force combat in certain zones and prevent players from spotting each other across the map. It should mix up the flow of combat quite a bit. The next Assassin's Creed game will be a live service title that makes some big changes to the franchise's single-era formula. It's codenamed Infinity and will be made up of multiple titles, each developed in collaboration across various Ubisoft studios. Traditionally, each Assassin's Creed game has been developed by one of Ubisoft's many studios and focused on a single setting. The info broke ahead of Ubisoft's official announcement in a report by Bloomberg. Ubisoft quickly published a blog post confirming some details from the report. In it, they say, rather than continuing to pass the baton from game to game, we profoundly believe this is an opportunity for one of Ubisoft's most beloved franchises to evolve into a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership. The rest of the blog post lists who's in charge of the project, but doesn't give any real details. Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting NVIDIA DLSS on the 13th. The game is one of the most visually stunning and demanding titles to launch in the past 5 years. Getting it to run at a fluid 60 FPS is a challenge even for high-end PCs. DLSS support will offer a big boost in performance without sacrificing much in terms of quality. Recent implementation of DLSS has proven to be absolutely fantastic. It seems like a great fit for Red Dead Redemption 2 and should give you a lot more headroom to crank the settings. The Brotherhood of Steel storyline finally has its conclusion in Fallout 76. The game's most recent update added the final chapter of the story expansion, in addition to a new scoreboard season, legendary crafting, and legendary power armor. Legendary crafting lets you upgrade normal items to legendary ones by re-rolling their attributes. Overall, this is a major update for the game. The Brotherhood of Steel expansion has been very well received by players. The update also fixes a ton of bugs and makes some interesting balance changes on top of new legendary item mechanics. A new balance update is live for Rainbow Six Siege test servers. It makes several balance changes. Specifically, it switches Alibi's AC312 1.5 times scope with a 2 times scope and adds a 1.5 times scope to her MX4. Frost's C1 loses its 1.5 times scope, a deployable shield replaces Tachanka's proximity alarm, his grenade launcher now has 14 total shots instead of 10, and his DP-27 shoots bigger holes in breakable surfaces. The final big change is to Zophia's M762 now has more vertical recoil and horizontal spread. Ubisoft also put a potential rework of Knock on hold as players reacted negatively to proposed changes to her abilities. Valve has found a new location for the 2021 Dota 2 International Tournament. It'll now be held in Romania's Arena Națională. It was originally being hosted in Sweden, but that country denied them a sporting event classification to participants and staff that they needed to enter the country. The International will take place from October 7th to the 17th and has a total prize pool of over $40 million. Dark Souls 3 just got an FPS boost update on Xbox Series consoles that doubles the game's frame rate from 30 to 60. Microsoft typically rolls out these FPS boost updates to multiple games at once, but Dark Souls 3 required a unique implementation. They worked closely with the game's developer From Software to enable 60 FPS. This is a big deal because Dark Souls is a franchise all about meticulous combat timing. Playing at 30 FPS is a huge limitation that fans of the franchise are routinely critical of. The standout example is Bloodborne. That game is still locked at 30 FPS even on PlayStation 5. Modders have proven that the game can run above 30 FPS just fine on the next-gen console, but From Software still haven't released a next-gen upgrade for it. Before we get to our final story today, let us know what Battlefield 2042 info you're waiting for. More info will be revealed during EA Play Live on the 22nd, so stay tuned for continued coverage. Resident Evil Village has sold 4.5 million units since launch. That's another 500,000 since Capcom last announced sales figures. The game is only 2 months old and is quickly approaching the lifetime sales of the previous mainline entry in the franchise, Resident Evil 7. This is a huge accomplishment, especially considering 7 was a renaissance moment for the franchise that relit excitement for it in a big way. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.